Mr. Ndumiso Hadebe.
Hey, brother, how you doing?
Welcome to the Thought Lab podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Dude, I've been chomping at the bit to have you on the podcast.
Sure.
So we, of course, met at one of John Flismus's events called Enlightenment.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the second love child
Oh,
of
yeah.
'woQd and the Thought Lab
I'm on it, dude. I'm on it. Thank you so much.
And I was just telling you before the podcast, right? So as we were sitting there and you were busy talking, right? Because you're a very accomplished speaker, bro. In my opinion, man. And I've heard a lot of speakers. And while you were busy talking, I was already on Twitter. I was like, Ndumiso Hadebe, ad.
Oh,
It
thank
was
you.
ridiculous. And,
Sure.
and I mean, we had just, myself and Jade from woQd had just been talking about sort of cementing the relationship between woQd and the Thought Lab.
Yeah.
And I phoned her up. I was like, Jade, I need Ndumiso. I want him on the podcast.
Sure.
Yeah.
For me, it's quite. I mean, when I received your correspondence and your phone call, I was quite honored because an accomplished man like yourself, with all of the experience that you have and the exciting work that you do, for you to see that potential or something that you think has value. For me, I mean, like I mentioned earlier before we started the podcast, that this is a learning journey for me.
Mm-hmm.
Really using or sharing the experiences that I have in the work that I do, and communicating that to inspire, to deliver insights or add value in people's lives. And for you to be able to see that in the space of 5 minutes,
Don't sell yourself short. It was 10 minutes.
It was a 10 minute
10-minute talk, right?
It wasn't a quickie. Okay.
10 minutes. It wasn't a quickie, bro. It was a 10-minute talk, man.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the like-minded events. I loved what you had to say. While we were sitting there, I was obviously going through Twitter and I checked out Khomba, which I definitely want to discuss.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I got home and I quickly checked out a few things and I was like, wow, man. Because, of course, your profile's up on woQd. Right?
Yes,
and this is so cool
yes.
for me now.
Yeah.
So I just go to woQd and I just read this long profile and I was like, holy shit, dude. I mean, fucking impressive. Very, 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 very impressive. You know what I think, man?
Yeah.
I think that it's people, I'd like to say like us, but I'm going to change that and I'm going to say it's people like you who are going to take this country from where it is now to where I believe and I hope and I pray it's going to go one day.
Wow.
Right? It's young entrepreneurs. Right? South Africa needs businessmen.
Yeah.
And not only are you're a young entrepreneur, but you're a young entrepreneur creating an environment for micro entrepreneurs and SMEs.
Yes.
And I looked at this and I was just like, right, sold. I'm done. Can I hug him? Immediately I had like a bromance done. I mean, I've been running around. I have some really cool people on the podcast, but I've been running around telling everybody, I got Ndumiso Hadebe on the podcast, and everybody's looking at me. I'm like, don't worry. He's coming.
Wow.
Because these fucking things matter.
Yeah,
Ndumiso.
they do.
These things really, really, really matter.
Yeah.
Right?
No, they do. I mean,
and you have one up on me, but you've been on a TEDx talk.
I don't know how I landed that, to be quite honest.
I've got the talk jealous. Right? I got like the speaker envy.
I mean, shucks. Look, I had I was privileged to be invited to the TED talk, but I find it very difficult to listen to myself, to watch myself. But I think as public speakers and as communicators, it's important to be able to really look at ourselves critically.
Yes.
What we're doing right and what we're doing wrong, so that we can better ourselves. So that's also another learning process. It's very difficult for me to actually watch myself
and your voice, eh?
Yeah,
when
exactly.
I first started podcasting, I was just like, no, are you kidding me? who would ever listen to this? Ever. And then I actually had one or two of my guests, and now it actually looks like it may actually come to fruition. One of my guests actually turned around and said to me, would you please read my audiobook?
Wow.
Right? And he says, you've got such a great voice. I was like, dude, what have you been smoking? Right?
Wow.
But you've got to just become, now I'm so comfortable with it. This is, you're going to be episode 23.
Wow.
20, if I'm not mistaken, episode 23.
Sure.
Right? So that's it. If you want to play in the space, get used to it, man.
And you've gelled into it quite well.
I'm a lot more competent now than I was.
Okay.
I'm nowhere near where I want to be.
Okay. And in preparation for this, did you listen? I mean, you mentioned that you listened to quite a lot of podcasts, different content and so on. Did that actually guide you in terms of the shape and the form, the substance that you want to take with Thought Lab?
Yes, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I looked at the best podcasts sort of out there that I really, really, really love listening to.
Yeah.
And You know, OPM, dude, other people's mistakes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
OPS, other people's successes. And so I looked at podcasts that I didn't like and the things I didn't like about them. And I looked at the podcasts I did like and what did work.
Yeah.
And I basically shaped my own identity, but it's based on, I mean, why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah.
If things are working, use them.
Yes.
You know, I've taken a little bit more of a risky podcast route in as far as the fact that I will podcast with just about anybody. Now, the danger with that is, I have no idea what you're bringing. Right. Whereas if we talk, let's say I'm an IT whiz, and we talk IT, well then I'm safe, in my little box of IT.
Yes.
I'm not safe here, dude.
Yeah,
you know,
it can go south real quick.
Yeah, I have John Flismus on the podcast.
Can you imagine how that was?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Roman Kavanagh was on the podcast from the Renegade Report.
Yo,
okay,
that's
fucking sit here, and then sometimes you're thinking to yourself, what have I got myself into? You know, I had Ian Weinberg on who started speaking about quantum physics and no, like things got, so it's a lot riskier, but my mandate, because I mean, really, the only person that I have to hold accountable for the podcast is myself. That's it. So I almost created a mandate for myself, and my mandate was interesting people who can add value to my guests. And I try and stick to the interesting people, industry leaders or influencers. You know, and that's what I try and stick to. You know, and I want to deliver a guest, and I want to showcase South Africa. Because that's what it's really about. You know, I've got the opportunity to podcast with 1 or 2 internationals, and I will. But thus far, 23 podcasts with the most incredible South African human beings you've ever met, dude.
Sure.
And I mean, I've been thinking to myself, one day I just want to get everybody I've podcast in one room. That would just be
big conversation.
Well, even just get them in one room, man. And just sit down and chat and let everybody meet one another. And I mean, what an incredible, because it really is incredible human beings. You know, I do vet carefully. And I don't just say, because I mean, I get a lot of phone calls now. You know, when I first started podcasting, it was like, oh my God, who am I going to podcast next? You know, oh my God. And now I get a lot of phone calls and guys like, what about this person? What about that person? And I vet. You know, because I don't want somebody who's going to come on and start blurbing to the nth degree racism, for argument's sake. That's not my jam. I don't mind discussing racism, right? But I don't, you know, I don't want some neo-Nazi.
Very morbid and
exactly. I mean, if we had Juju on the podcast, right, we know what we talk about. We know exactly what we talk about.
True.
And I don't know if that's a conversation I want to have, although maybe it is a conversation I want to have. Right?
Sure. Might be quite an interesting one, but sure.
So let's jump back to you, right? Single?
Yes, single, but in a committed relationship.
Okay. Not married yet?
Not married yet.
May I ask how old you are? Because you're a millennial, and you very vehemently put up your hand when we were discussing millennials, right?
Yes, I'm 27, born 1991.
All right. So you're slap bang in the middle of a millennial.
Yeah, slap bang. Just above the average age, as it were, of a South African or an African. I mean, in the continent, we have the youngest population in the world. So and because I'm late millennial, late millennial Gen X. I sit right in the cusp between. So you have the best of you have a view of both worlds.
I do, and it's a very interesting sort of position that I found myself in, where I understand very old school business philosophies and methodologies and principles. You know, I was taught by old school sales managers, and this is how you greet, and that's how you do business. But I also understand the world of tech. You know, and I also fall privy or form part of, for argument's sake, instant gratification. Right?
I
mean, I do.
Sure.
I can't deny that, as much as I'd love to deny it.
True.
It's built into me. You know, it's a meme that I run now.
And then how has that been? Was it difficult for you to actually sort of dipping into these two worlds, and when you find yourself in a situation where, whether you're in a gathering or in a meeting, and there are these two separate generations, and you can identify where the mismatch is because of the different behavioral
think,
Yeah.
and I mean, maybe people I have meetings with can, I think I play well with everybody. I can play well with a 60-year-old, which I do, and I can play well with a 23-year-old, in a board meeting. I think I've got that ability because, on the older spectrum,
yes,
I love picking up a book. And that's where I come from, reading and old school business principles. But on the new school, I love all things tech, and I love web, and I love dev, and I love nerds. I mean, I've had proper nerds on the podcast, right?
Wow.
And we were just talking about like nerding our faces off.
Sure.
So I do enjoy that. I think my biggest battle was when PCs first came out. We weren't early adopters. We didn't have the money to be early adopters. And even when we did eventually get a PC, I mean, I knew nothing about what this thing could do. So from a tech adoption point of view, we were quite. I was personally a little bit late to the game in comparison to some of my friends.
Okay.
Financially also was an issue. Even my cell phone, I got my cell phone a little bit later, my first cell phone, right, which was one of those Nokia bricks, which is also a traditional Zulu weapon. Because you can throw it at a motherfucker.
You can.
What I mean? Right? And those things don't break. But like my mates all had phones and I didn't. And you know what I mean? But once I got into tech and once I just realized its capability and once I realized that I actually had the propensity for tech. So for argument's sake, I'm really accomplished at Excel.
Sure.
Okay. But I say, in comparison to the normal individual out there, I'm a 9. Okay. In comparison to the people I know who I learned from, I'm like a 3. So you have to, you have to. But for argument's sake, the power of tech and what we can do. This podcast, man. Done. Next week, Wednesday, out to the world.
Exactly.
Bam.
And people who weren't even here can experience what we are actually chatting about, the insights or whatever the case may be.
That's what it's about.
But what? Because we were discussing earlier that you train and you equip managers to be managers.
Yes.
And I mean, there's this conversation around tech disruption and how it's affecting organizations, people, future world of work, automation, mechanization, all of that. And we're seeing a lot of managers and leaders sort of struggling to sort of lead, given this unprecedented change that we're experiencing. What do you think in your compass and in your skill set, I don't know what to call it, has enabled you to be able to navigate these two worlds, to have an appreciation of where we come from, and traditional, conventional business principles to what the world is bringing with the change that's coming along with tech and managing organizations.
Damn, dude. That's a hard question. I mean,
but it's fascinating.
No, it is. It's. So I grew up in a small town. Okay, where old school principles still stand. So for argument's sake, we call all our friends' dads the toppies. And regardless of whether I like a toppie or not is irrelevant. If I'm sitting down and a toppie walks in, I stand up and I greet. So there's those, small town springs, small town principles that were embedded me from the word get-go. So I think it's about where you come from. So what's been built into you, the good and the bad, eh?
Oh, okay.
Remember, because there's good things that get built into you and bad things that get built into you.
True.
Some you need to overcome and some you can accept. Right. So I love that. And I often look at the younger generation now and I'm like, yes, you guys are so rude.
Sure.
You're so, you have a little bit of respect. Because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here.
True.
Okay.
True.
And then looking at because I mean, in each 10-year generation gap, so go 65, 55, 45, 35, 25. In each of them, there's a breaking away from that from that principles, and a coming up of tech, and how we can use those two. So why do I think I'm good at that? I don't know. I mean, I think because I respect old world, but I love new world. I think that's what it is. I respect. So for argument's sake, I do a lot of training with a lot of. I'll do training with an older manager. And I'll do training with a younger manager. Okay. So let's talk about training, and let's say for argument's sake, I'm discussing something like time management. Okay, so part and parcel of one of the pillars of time management is to-do lists.
Yeah.
All right, and
Yeah.
how we manage our to-do lists.
Yes.
Now, I'm not going to sit to the 65-year-old and say to him, sir, what I really think you should do is download the latest app.
Slack or something.
Okay,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, Slack.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to say to him, do you use an A4 pad?
Yeah.
Yes, use it.
Yeah.
100% use it.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to turn around to the young guy. I'm going to say to him, what are you using?
Yes.
You know, I mean, I'm very tech orientated. My to-do list is written. There's something beautiful about writing down your to-do list and crossing off your to-do
Yes.
list, and the dopamine that your brain gives you for short-term
For-
gratification.
Yes,
Yes, exactly.
yes.
You know, and I don't get that sense of accomplishment on an app. I need to. I've even got a
did
yellow
this.
highlighter right now. Fuck you, task. I'm the
Yes,
winner.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So I've got to be respectful. I
Yeah.
can't push my ideas down somebody's throat. But by and large, what does it come down to? Whether you're 65 or you're 25, the one skill that every manager needs is people skills. Okay?
Yes.
And before they can worry about managing somebody else, they've got to learn to fucking manage themselves.
Self.
That's it.
Sure.
So you've got to look within,
Yeah.
figure out what your problem is. And I often say to my consultants, to the guys that I consult with, I say, in my consulting, we're going to come up with problems.
Yeah.
This is neither a good thing nor a bad thing.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
Because if I can understand what that problem is, then I can manage it. Right?
Yes.
So for argument's sake, one of my clients may be a procrastinator.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. She's a procrastinator. So be it.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Is that going to change? No. Do we put management mechanisms around that as the business owner to support her? Yes. That's what matters. So everybody says, find out all your problems and focus on all the weakest ones. Well, one of my problems is I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I have insomnia. I have dyslexia. I have a touch of germophobia, and I'm a little bit OCD. No fucking jokes. Man.
Really?
Not even joking.
Sure.
Right? My whole life has been about hacking myself to normality. One of my traits, if you look at the temperament scale, one of my traits is I'm an extroverted feeler. Which means I'm a sanguine, okay? And as a sanguine, one of my negative traits is that I can lose track of time. And I can end up talking like a whole load of shit to people. Now, do I want to quash that when I'm fucking doing such a great job on the podcast?
No.
What do? I manage myself.
Yes.
So everything's in my calendar. I get
Yes.
reminders to say leave.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Or for argument's sake, I'll go to one of my clients, and I know he's a sanguine, I know I'm a sanguine.
Yeah.
Our meeting starts at 8:30 to 9:30. I get there at 8. Why? Giving myself that time.
Exactly.
So we can shoot the shit and have fun and talk shit. And then 8:30, again, my calendar goes, you've got your meeting. All right. We need to sit down now. We need to focus on business.
Sure.
So I don't believe that this idea that we need to squash everything that's bad about us, because what's bad in one instance may be phenomenally good in another instance.
That's a very interesting idea. It's very interesting in the sense that it brings up the theme of if we not only just focus on the good, but also have an appreciation of the bad in us and our habits and in others as well. There's a sense of co-creating of value in this richness of good and bad. I think then a lot of the time, yes, whilst we are in pursuit of what you call, is it perfection or OCD or whatever the case may be, but I guess sometimes we tend to forget that part of what makes us human and part of what makes the experience of living is our faults as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I don't believe there's perfection.
Yeah.
Right. I don't believe there's ever perfection. The best master out there.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as ultimate mastery.
Yeah.
There is mastery to the degree that you are competently competent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's it. Where is there perfection? No, life is suffering, bro.
Yeah.
That's what it really comes down to. Life is suffering. Life is hard.
It is. It is.
Look at how you grew up, dude.
It is. Yeah.
I'm a very, very privileged white guy.
Really?
And I'm a privileged white guy, right? Because I'm, you know the John Flismer's talk. I mean,
Yes.
You've heard it.
Yes.
He's the one who opened my eyes up.
Sure.
And I accept that fully now.
Yeah.
But I was still very unprivileged. Okay. I had a fucking hard childhood, dude.
Yeah.
But I mean, is that not the experiences? Would you go back and change anything?
Knowing what I know now,
Yes.
I wouldn't.
Exactly.
I wouldn't.
So, and neither would I.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah.
Because it is who I am now. It's turned me into who I am now. We don't grow when we're in order.
Yes.
We grow when we're in chaos.
Yeah.
Aren't we? So the Taoists talk about skirting the line between order and chaos.
Sure.
And our subconscious brain and our ego wants order.
Yes.
That's what it wants. It wants routine.
Yes.
Tick the boxes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And in order to grow, we need to move across into chaos. Right?
Yes.
And then in chaos, we learn to grow. And then we go, okay, too much chaos, back to order. Right?
Yes.
And then we sit in order for a little while, and then we're happy, and then we need to move out.
Yeah.
But how many mates do you know right now that if you turn around to them and said, oh, something's going to change, they'd freak the fuck out?
Sure. Quite a
few. Why? Because they never consciously put themselves in states of chaos.
Yeah.
So I always say to people, do something you suck at. You!
Shucks. That's going to deal with like self-esteem and all of that shit.
Ego.
Yeah.
But also gets you accustomed to change. Because I got to walk in, so let's say it's archery for argument's sake. I got to walk in and go, right, I'm going to suck at this.
Yeah.
Okay, and archery is like deceivingly hard. Okay, I'm definitely going to suck at this. Okay, 100%. So now I'm going to be the worst.
Yeah.
My ego's going to take a bashing.
Yeah.
It's going to take time. It's going to take effort.
Yes.
And guess what? That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay, man.
Yeah.
But we no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to suck at it.
Yeah.
My ego won't allow that. And then how do we grow and how do we learn?
Yeah, then we don't. Then, I mean, it takes away from the journey and process of living.
Yeah.
And living a meaningful life.
That's it.
Whether it be in our work or personal lives or whatever the case may be. So it's quite an interesting idea.
Alfred and I spoke last week about looking at life in terms of the amount of summers you have left. So...
Okay.
Yeah, 27. So let's go say 37, 47, 57, 67, 77. So you got 50 summers left, give or take. You know what I mean? But that's a good way of, and then take the number you've got on your bucket list.
Yes.
And match that up to the number of summers you've got.
Yeah.
And realizing you don't do much in winter.
True.
Okay. Not most people are fucking crazy to go to Afri-ski in the
Exactly.
middle of winter
Exactly.
when it's going to be max -2
Exactly.
or max 2. Yeah, but think about it. Most people don't do a lot in winter.
True.
Summers is when we do things.
Yeah.
So you got 50 chances.
Wow.
How's that for perspective?
Yeah, it's quite a.
We had a long chat about it, Alfred and I.
Sucks. I'm just reminded of a friend of mine. He mentioned something that got me thinking. I'm paraphrasing here.
Please do.
He mentioned what did he say? He said the hallmark of true intelligence does not lie in any form of extremism. So I think the conversation was centered around capitalism and communism. It was those
one
kind of debates.
those,
One of those debates, and so some people were obviously socialist, communism, and others capitalism. And he said, no, gents, look, the hallmark of true intelligence does not lie in any extreme, because life is not black and white. Life is 50 shades of grey. Yeah. It's 50 shades of grey, dude. It's 50. So all we try to do, like you mentioned, in that space of chaos, those different shades of grey, is we try to navigate and try to shape the form, sometimes the substance. So he mentioned, look, sometimes we try to make life linear.
Yes.
And often
it doesn't
not.
work like that.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, I mean, before the podcast, we were talking about your career as an MC, and we're going to get back to you now, right? We've got time, right?
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I'm also very interested in starting a career as an MC.
Yes.
Right? And with John's help and guidance, hopefully, under gnwoQd. And I've been thinking very carefully about what talk I want to do. Okay, and I've got lots of talks.
Yes.
But I actually want to talk about living a dichotomous life.
Yeah.
And of course, dichotomy is the ability to hold two opposing thoughts in your mind simultaneously. And that goes exactly to what you just said. Because if I'm too far to the left or if I'm too far to the right, then and we get, not only do we get blinded by being too far into one extreme, but by accepting that extreme, we have to accept everything that comes with it. So for argument's sake, if I turn around and I say, well, I'm part of the left, well, then I have to believe everything that the left says.
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And if I'm part of the right, well, then, no, it doesn't fucking work that way.
Yeah.
There's
There's some parts you agree with, there's some parts you don't.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I agree with that, but I disagree with this. And that doesn't make me left and it doesn't make me right.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm definitely more liberal.
Yeah.
But I'm center liberal, not far left.
Yes.
Because then you start going along the lines of, I mean, on the right you've got the alt-right,
yeah,
and I mean, you know what's happening with the alt-right now,
yeah.
And then on the left you've got I'm trying to think of the word right now, I can't even think of it, but it's all this extremism, and
yeah, and you see it in every aspect of the life of human beings, whether it be in religion, whether it be in politics, whether it be in business, or even in personal relationships. And so it's an interesting idea that in my own personal development I continue to try and seek enlightenment around in various aspects of my life, because for the longest time, I think personally, for the longest time while growing up, I was quite a linear thinker, I was quite linear in everything that I do, from my approach to work, and I think perhaps, I don't know whether it might have been my schooling background. I mean, when you're in school, as opposed to once you go to varsity or start working, it's what you taught. That's okay. This year, these are my goals. Okay, president this year, I've achieved this. Nationals this year, everything is very linear and ordered. And then you leave matric, and then you get into chaos.
What the fuck's going on?
What's happening?
Yeah.
And so I've been. It's just an interesting idea that I continue to seek more enlightenment around, and it's quite interesting to hear different perspectives.
So one of the most amazing things I've ever done is I've gone and studied every single major religion.
Really?
And that'll shake you to your bones, dude.
Sure, can you imagine?
Because you have to really put aside all your preconceived ideas and all your preconceived beliefs. And I didn't do it to change my belief system. I did it to understand, for no other reason, just for the sheer joy of it, and to try and get what's going on. Doesn't that make you a great manager?
Sure, exactly.
If you understand what I mean, and you could do the same, and you can listen to the stories of the left and the stories of the right. So a massive conversation that's happening right now, and something I'm following very, very closely is equality. And equality, as the left see it versus the right see it, as opposed to individualism. Right? Because there is no doubt that we need the left to build up equality and to fight for people's rights. But simultaneously, we need the right to understand that there is still individual. Okay? And what brush do I paint you with?
Sure.
I'll tell you what brush I'd like to paint you with. You. And no other brush. Doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter, and do you have the right opportunities, and is there a form of meritocracy in place that can work? And that's really what it comes down to. And there's a lot of it going on now. And it's even going into gender.
Yes.
Yes. Ooh, we can't talk about that. But I mean, it's something that needs to be discussed. It really is. It's something that needs to be. You can't tell me that my words need to be prohibited, because now we're talking communism. Aren't we? The moment the government starts turning around saying what you can and what you cannot say is the first steps to communism. If you think about it, that's how it all started.
Exactly.
You can't say this.
This is prohibited.
And then we need to go into things like freedom of speech versus hate speech. And this is something that I've been trying to wrap my head around, because we need, to the nth degree, we need freedom of speech. Okay?
We do.
And if you want to be a racist, be a racist. And it's good that it's freedom of speech, because then I know that you're a racist.
Exactly.
I'm be like, okay, that guy's a racist. Cool.
Cool.
But if it's prohibited from saying anything, then we don't know.
Exactly.
But we don't want our speech to incite directly violence. And then on the flip side, then we start talking, about things like safe spaces.
Dude,
it's all so complex, and it's all so hard. And I think it can be solved by living a dichotomous life. Have your core principles, have your core beliefs, review them, look at them, fight with them and turmoil with them and you know, like the old saying, you know, the dark night of the soul. Have that.
Yeah.
But simultaneously, so what if you've got your view? I'm okay with that. Have your view and let's chat about it. You know, and if you've got a view that we don't like,
yes,
let's chat about it.
Yes.
And let's try and find, as opposed to it's my view and it's your view and now we have to fight.
Yeah, now we on opposing sides. Yeah,
so,
yeah.
bloody hell, long story short.
Yeah.
This is what I'm actually thinking of doing my talk on.
It's a powerful idea.
Yeah, and it'll be very, very controversial, but I don't care.
Yeah. But I mean, shock is what gets us to act. I mean, if it's and I think it's a powerful idea, yes, for us as individuals, but for leaders as well. Because I mean, as a leader, you are a manager, a facilitator of work or conversations between extremely different people.
Yes.
Different worldviews, outlooks, backgrounds,
Well,
everything.
Race, sex, religion,
everything. Yes, ideologies, whatever.
Everything.
And it's powerful in the sense as to how leaders, how really understanding and unpacking that idea would enable leaders to be able to be better leaders and managers in whatever environment or context they find. I find that to be very powerful. And then how do you think a leader or a manager would be able to sort of to play a meaningful role in a team or an organization, having that understanding and appreciation of the dynamics around him or her?
2 words.
Yeah.
Maybe even just 1 word. Compassion.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If I can be compassionate to the fact that everybody's got their own circumstance, everybody's got their own demons they're fighting, everybody's got their own turmoils.
Yeah.
And if we can be compassionate, you know, so what is the difference between a manager and a leader?
Yeah.
A manager administrates, okay, and a leader fucking leads. And how do you lead? Well, you lead by inspiring confidence in your team and by leading by example. Okay. How do you inspire confidence in your team? Well, your team needs to trust you. And in order for your team to trust you, you're going to have to be that guy that sits there and speaks to them. And not as a team, but individually and a team. So that I understand, okay, Ndumiso's problem is there.
Yes.
Cool. Huntley's problem is that though.
Yes.
Right? So I can't blanket statement them in certain things, but other things I can.
Yes.
Right? And Ndumiso is motivated by AB and Huntley's motivated by CD. So I can't even put the same motivating structure.
Yeah.
I mean, so many businesses get the difference between extrinsic and intrinsic motivation factors completely incorrectly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like for argument's sake, IT guys, right? Now I'm blanket statementing. So so I'm generalizing, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that IT guys in tech aren't driven by money. Of course they are, but they're driven by something more than money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's an idealism.
Yes.
It's I want to change the world.
Yes.
Okay, so as a performance management tool, as opposed to me turning around and going, okay, here's money. Why don't I turn around and go, all right, I'll give you 5 hours off, right? And you can work on any project you want to on my time. Because remember, time is money.
Yeah.
How's that for a motivating factor?
Sure.
Just right there.
Yeah.
So
Individualism.
and that's team dynamic. So you got tech versus sales. Sales is very money orientated. Tech is very ideal orientated or world orientated. But then there's Ndumiso, and what makes you actually tick? And guys get it wrong, man.
Sure, they do.
Guys get it.
They do.
Guys
Make
get
it generic for
wrong.
everyone.
That's it.
Wow.
You know, where does this term manager and leader come from? Well, it was first actually derived from war, right? And you would have a general, and you would have an officer, and you would have. And why did you have great generals and bad generals? And why do you have generals that the people would die for and others that they ran away from?
Yeah.
It's the inspiring of confidence. It's the willing to get down in the trenches with you. It's the willing to, okay, we fucked up.
Yeah.
We're going to work until 9 o'clock tonight. I'm working with you.
Yeah.
And we're going to bash it out and we're going to hit it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, even in my club, so I've got a saying that I say to the guys. I say, when we're trying something really hard and really technical, I say to the guys, fuck it up, we'll fix it. So I'm actually giving them permission to fail.
Sure.
I'm going, go fail. I know you're going to fail. I know it's technical. I know it's hard.
Yeah.
I don't care. I care that you try. And then we'll fix it, and then we'll fix it, and then we'll fix it. So from a management point of view, let's take the same ethos and say, okay, fuck it up, we'll fix it. Fine. If you were continuously making the same faults over and over and over again, that's incompetence. Okay. But I have to be able to turn around to you and say, fuck it up.
But it's going to affect my bottom line, Huntley.
Well, okay. Depends on what you fuck up, of course.
Yeah.
But for argument's sake, let's say that a manager has got a young guy and he's coming up in the business and he's a lead and you want him to start looking at stats and you go look at that Excel spreadsheet. Go and make it. Go and stuff it up. Who cares? If we don't get it right, we'll come back and we'll look at it. Like, obviously you have to play the game.
Yes.
But how can I never make a mistake? How many people do you think sit in organizations with phenomenal business ideas and never ever bring them to the fore for fear of rejection? Number one, right? And for fear of making a mistake.
Yeah. You see now. We gave him a chance and he blew. Yeah.
I mean, every single thing that has happened has been a mistake. I mean, the microwave oven was a fucking mistake by a scientist because the microwaves cooked an egg.
Yeah.
And now we have microwave ovens.
Sure.
I mean, everything has been mistakes, but trying, failing. That's like me turning around saying, Ndumiso, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to become a pro boxer. Okay? But when we come to class tonight, for your first class tonight, I want you to knock out the best guy.
Shucks.
Of course you're going to make mistakes. Both for the next 6 months, you're going to make mistakes. So we can accept it in a sports environment. We can accept it in a hobby environment. We can accept it in a life environment. But we can't accept it in a business environment. What the fuck is the difference? There's no difference.
There's no difference whatsoever,
No.
Yeah.
So we have to manage the mistakes.
Yeah.
Of course we have to manage the mistakes.
You spoke about earlier.
We need to play the game right. We can't just give free rein. Okay? But we also can't have an environment where no mistake is ever allowed, ever.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hear your ideas. Because people don't leave bad jobs, they leave bad managers.
Sure.
Exactly.
That's powerful. That's powerful. And I think the talk that you're developing and that you're going to deliver, it's going to shift thinking. Because I think we really are in that time in the world where there's a shift. It's almost as if when during the age of Enlightenment, and the production of new knowledge and new ideas.
You hit the nail on the head.
There's a need for a shift because we're seeing that, perhaps how we've been thinking about this was probably ideal then, but right now we need a different perspective, a different view, not looking at it from the bottom, but maybe whatever the case may be.
Well, the thing is, why? I mean, we understand where these management structures come from as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the management structures come from businesses that were formed in the 1940s and 1950s.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So what does the science say?
Sure.
What does psychology say? What does anthropology say?
Yes.
And because that's what I'm massively passionate about is philosophy, psychology, anthropology. I'm so enamored with it. I'm hoping next year to do my BA in psychology.
Sure.
So let's take all of these things and start really looking at how we run our businesses and how we run our clubs and friends and everything, man. It's just everything. Have a little bit of compassion.
Yeah. And I think
so. Let's change the word from compassion to empathy.
Empathy.
I think it's a better word.
And then why that?
Because to be empathetic means for me to be able to put myself in that situation. And in order to put myself in that situation, and that's truly what empathy is, right? For me to be able to go in your shoes and go, okay, but Ndumiso's really battling with this thing, and I'm empathetic towards that, and I think just add a little empathy. That was my brother's rule, because we've sort of made rules on the podcast, right? As we've go, So rule number 1, don't be a doers. Okay,
good one.
Rule number 2, don't do anything today don't do anything that will harm yourself and those around you in the long run. And then rule number 3 was add a little empathy. That was my brother's rule.
Wow.
So we'll make up these rules sort of as we go, right? One day I'll write a book.
Exactly. And it can actually come out of this project.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can imagine, given the powerful and the incredible people that you've had on this platform, I can only imagine what that has done for your own personal enlightenment.
Absolutely.
thought process.
Absolutely. Yeah, without a doubt, you know.
Yeah.
It's strange, Ndumiso, you know, you can... Roman Cabernet said this to me, and it's something that's always stuck with me. He says, I can phone Helen Ziller and I can ask her to go for lunch with me and she's going to say no. But I can phone her and say, come on the podcast, and she'd say yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, he's had Helen Ziller on the Renegade Report, right?
So
he was being completely honest and true. But if you look at that idea, the podcast does allow me access to a lot of people that would ordinarily I would never meet and I'd never be in contact with.
True.
Right?
True.
And it's tech enabled.
Exactly. So the reach
tech enabled, man.
is endless. Sure. Yeah, no. It's quite interesting times, and I think this conversation in itself, or platforms such as these ones, are needed, because oftentimes we assume that we're having these conversations. I mean, at the presentation at gnwoQd that we had, Like Mind, that we had a few weeks back, it was the very same conversation.
Yeah.
And said, but guys, where are we having these conversations?
Yeah.
And the powerful views and
yeah, and you heard me stick up my hand.
Yes.
Like, go fucking listen to a podcast.
Yes.
Because these conversations are happening all the time.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
But you're not using the tech.
Yeah.
You're letting the tech use you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I was doing a training actually this morning.
Yeah.
Right? I do training with some of the guys in the company.
Yeah.
Called Future Champions.
Ah.
And we're talking about time management, and we're talking about what is it that most takes up your time.
Yeah.
And by and large, the room put up their hands and said phones. Okay?
Yeah.
And okay.
Granted.
So let's take away the fact that I'm addicted to my phone and you're addicted to your phone.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Remember my previous statement. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. If I allow it to control me by going on and going, oh, did I get another like? And look at Kim Kardashian's fucking gluteus maximus, which has actually got hair and, pock marks and shit like that.
Yeah.
If that's my jam, then that's my jam. Then it's controlling me.
Yeah.
But there's a function on your phone called See First.
Yeah.
So then I go to Harvard Business Review, See First.
Yes.
I go to gnwoQd, I go See First.
Yes.
I go to Ndumiso Hadebe, See First.
Yes.
And I go to all these different types of things. Gary V, See First.
Yes.
So
yes.
I know I'm addicted to my phone, so I'm going to wake up, for argument's sake, and I don't really in the mornings, but in the afternoons or in the evenings, I might take my phone.
Yeah.
And what is it that I'm feeding myself? All the good things.
Yeah.
And then by the time that I get to whatever else, I'm like, I'm hurtful, and I put on my phone. But I've read this article from Harvard Business, and I've read that article, and I've listened to this video.
Yes.
So it does it control you? Do you control it? Because the addiction's there, bro.
It is. No, look, I tried getting off all social media platforms for a week. I'm telling you, dude, it was almost as
You took a sabbatical.
I took I couldn't imagine. It was one of the toughest things I've had to do for personal discipline. And for me, it was that very question. Look, it is what it is. But what really is it to me? Does it control me, or am I managing it? And so as a result of that exercise, I've deployed certain ways to sort of manage what I view to see, but this is not meaningful, productive.
Perfect. Like
for what I'm trying to build, or for what I'm trying to become, or whatever the case may be. So it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting in that sense. What we allow ourselves to get into our system and what we feed ourselves. And I guess it also relates to the whole mind.
Because whatever it is we do repetitively is going to become our habit, and that's going to become our addiction. And that's going to become our future. Simple.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just it.
That's just it.
It's the simplest thing, yet the hardest thing to control.
It is.
Right?
Yes. And I think for millennials in particular, it becomes an interesting conversation to then say, in the age of increased digitization and social media and all of this content that we have available to us, from being a parent, having little ones, curating the content that they're exposed to being a teenager, and curating whatever content you expose yourself to, and really the impact that has on one's life. It then becomes an interesting sort of self-assessment sort of process
Yeah.
to undertake for one's own personal development.
I also think that a big problem with the state of teenagers and young millennials now is the dying of the reading.
Yeah.
And they are reading, and
Yeah.
guys are reading, but they're not reading a book, a whole book.
140 characters?
Yeah, 140
Yeah.
characters, right?
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
whole book, like actually picking up a book. Look,
Yeah.
I mean, I do audiobooks,
Yeah.
and that counts,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And I do ebooks. I mean, I'm on
Yes.
Amazon, so I do ebooks, that counts, and normal books. But it's just all this knowledge is out there,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And yet I'm making my decision based on what social media says,
Yeah.
and what the news says, and we all know that fake news is real right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. It is.
Okay,
It is.
everybody's got their agenda.
Yes.
I mean, that's exactly what it is.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, George Bezos now owns
Yeah.
Washington Post. Think about that.
Sure.
Yeah, fucking think about that.
What?
So, I mean, Bezos is, I mean, I look at him, I'm like,
Shucks.
wow.
Yes.
But he owns that newspaper. Who
Interesting.
pays their salaries?
Exactly.
What do you think they're going to print?
How? Exactly.
Hey?
Exactly. Yeah.
Mail and Guardian.
Yeah.
Who owns the Mail and Guardian? In South Africa.
Naspers.
Yeah, sorry, not Mail and Guardian. What's the newspaper? Not the Mail and Guardian, man.
Which one?
The one that's funded by the ANC.
The New Age, previously New Age, or what's now Afroview?
Ah, I can't think about it.
Is it not the previous? The New Age was the Gupta's one, right? The Gupta's.
I think yes,
The
I
New
think
Age.
so.
Yes, because that was the Gupta
Yeah.
thing.
So I mean, ultimately, the question we've got to be asking ourselves is
Yeah.
who's behind these things, and are they,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
in this day and age of outrage culture,
Yes.
and the picking up of ideas and just putting it out there, and the lack of serious journalism,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and this is how I'm consuming everything, and then I'm going out and I'm making decisions, and I'm trying to speak with an intellectual person, right?
Yeah.
And I don't really know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I want to sit there and I want to play with the big dogs in the boardroom.
Yes.
But the big dogs fucking read 150 books a year.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
you know, they're serious about the accumulation of knowledge and what's
Yeah.
going on around them in the world.
Yeah.
And then they walk in and then like, now I'm gonna play, and you're not. You're gonna be found wanting.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to be
Yeah.
an entrepreneur? Start reading.
It's important. It's important.
Dude, so unbelievably important. You know? There's some knowledge of the entire world is basically available to us on our phones,
Yeah.
through books,
Yeah.
on Wikipedia, wherever it may be. It doesn't matter. You know, it's there. But I have to see what's happening with Kim Kardashian. Do you know what I mean?
It's just a must.
Yeah. Oh my God. What happened?
Yeah.
Who fucking
yeah,
cares?
Yeah. Yeah. And then what are your thoughts then around, for instance, ebooks like you've mentioned versus book?
I love a book.
Yeah.
Because I love the smell of a book.
Yeah.
And I love owning that book.
Yeah.
But and I have a phenomenal library. I really do. I've been buying books since I was very, very, very young.
Sure.
So I've got a great library, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm also insomniac. So
Okay.
at 12 o'clock at night when my book's finished,
Yeah.
it's also easy to go Amazon.com,
Yeah.
right? Because I
Yeah.
got an Amazon Prime account, I get one free ebook a month.
Oh, nice.
Right,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
And remember, it's like $4 a month, eh? Okay.
So, yeah.
And then I go download Whisper Sync on my iPad read.
So yeah.
So there are certain books that I will go out, like music. There's certain
Yeah.
albums we'll go and buy.
Yes.
Because we want to own them.
We want to own the
and the other one,
record.
it doesn't matter. We can just download it on Spotify. Okay?
Yes.
And I'm the
yes,
same
yes.
with books, you know. So for argument's sake, I've got a couple of signed books. You know, Chantal Ilbury,
Wow.
on The Mind of a Fox.
Wow.
And and I've got signed copies and things
good
like
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
And Ian Weinberg recently, when he came on the podcast, he brought me one of his books, you know, that I've really treasured, you know,
Sure.
like really, really treasured. But for me, the excuses are, but I can't find the book. Oh, but I got to go buy a book.
Yes.
So I'm saying, okay, millennial, then
Yes.
use all your technology,
Yeah.
use all your tools, download the ebook, download
Yes.
the audiobook while you're driving to work.
Yeah.
So I played a game with my guys, and I say to the guys, so let's play the game with you, right? So the game goes as follows. How much time do you spend in your car a day? Average.
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 Sure. In an 8-hour day.
Yeah, in a day. One day.
One day.
So
Probably,
today's Monday.
Yeah.
How long?
Probably today alone, probably 4 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we average it out at? What do we average it out at?
What, in a week?
In a week. So your average day. Give me an average.
Shucks. 20 hours?
20 hours a week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give or take?
Yeah, give or take.
Right?
Yeah.
Times by 4?
Sure. 80?
80 hours a month. What can you learn with
Shucks.
80 hours?
Yeah.
So I'm on 40, eh? So I'm at about 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
3 hours a day, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
what can you learn with 40 hours? What can you listen to?
It's a lot of time.
I mean, that's ebook after ebook after podcast after podcast free, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So I mean, I have my phone's not set to podcast data. My phone's set to podcast Wi-Fi. So when I'm at home,
yeah,
it automatically downloads on Wi-Fi.
Nice.
And I get in my car and I press play. I don't
Sure.
listen to the radio.
Really, you don't?
No.
At all?
Nothing.
Wow.
Now I have Spotify and I
Yes.
download music that I want to listen to.
Interesting you say Spotify, though.
Sorry?
Interesting you say Spotify.
Yeah.
Spotify versus Apple or whatever.
I just love Spotify.
Really?
I think the playlist curators are better.
Yeah,
Okay, and I just like it. It's slicker.
Yeah.
So for argument's sake, what Mark Stent's done, very
Uh-huh.
interestingly, is his new album. He's created a playlist.
Yes.
And his playlist is called his new album. And
Okay.
every week or 2 weeks, he drops a new single into his
then-
album. So I'm literally getting his album as he's fucking releasing it.
Oh, that is so cool.
How cool.
Yes,
And it's all getting
okay.
done on Spotify. I just love Spotify.
I haven't tried it out. I haven't tried Henson.
And it's
sure.
going to cost you the same as iTunes.
As iTunes,
Look,
yeah.
I'm an Apple fanatic, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a Steve Jobs till I die. You know, the technology, not the manager. He was a shit
Okay.
manager, right? But he was an incredible human being.
Yes.
No, he's not a shit manager. He was a hard manager.
Okay.
Okay, very, very hard manager. And you get to pick.
Yeah.
If you have to pick the Richard Branson or the Steve Jobs, I'll pick Richard
Branson.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
okay.
But he changed the world.
Yeah.
But just in terms of the way I want to consume my music, Spotify works easier. And then my car's got an app
Yeah.
called Spotify on it.
Oh,
and the two,
then
it just works.
That is so cool.
It just works.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it just works for me.
Sure. I can't help then but think about this, the question of access then to all of this information we have. Access in terms of, I mean, Spotify, Amazon, whatever digital content that is out there. And I'll tell you why this idea comes through. There's a scholar from Harvard. His central thesis really is around what are some of the drivers or factors that contribute to the prosperity of different economies around the world. And one of his insights rather are that the diversity of know-how in a particular society, firm, community, or whatever the case may be, is one of the factors that drive the productive output of that society or of that economy or whatever the case may be. So it's quite then interesting when and one of the ways that happens through, of course, is through data flows, information, and whatever the case may be. And then there's this conversation around the access question as well to, in our context, one of our partners from Project Thesis, the guys who rolled out free Wi-Fi in Tshwane.
Yes.
She mentioned in some community in Pretoria, in a township, that a young person, once they started using the Wi-Fi network and so on and so forth, and one of the things that young boy said to him was that, hey, you know, Sissy, now that I have access to this Wi-Fi, because it's 500 megs per device per day, he mentioned something, I'm paraphrasing really, but that young boy mentioned something along the lines that he has a renewed imagination.
Oh, wow.
Around how he views life and his outlook.
Dude, if I could wave a magic wand.
Yeah.
One magic wand. If I
Yeah.
got given one magic wand to wave for society in South Africa today, it would be dirt, cheap, and or free internet access.
Yeah.
Because that would just
Yeah.
be the fucking game changer.
Yo.
And I, you know,
Huntley, dude, you have no
dude,
idea.
it would be a complete game changer.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
kids could literally get their schooling done there.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
like phenomenal schooling.
Yes,
access to information.
Yes,
you know? There are. So the barrier to entry in terms of podcasting is the fact that you need to download a podcast. So
yes.
you've got two ways that you can download a podcast, for argument's sake. So you could look at it on YouTube because it's the videos going up.
Yes.
Right? Or the audio.
Yeah.
And I mean, so what I even do is I get it as a WAV file from my brother, and then I take it and I convert it to an MP3 because it makes it even smaller. So it's like 150 megabytes to download my whole podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, give or take.
Yes,
if you understand, give or take 150 megabytes.
Yeah.
So fine, if you're doing that a lot, you're going to eat into your data. I mean, 100%.
Yes.
But even that is tiny.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But what you want to be able to do is, guys, to access it for free.
Yes.
You know.
Yes,
so I'm on my way to school and I'm busy listening to something.
Yes.
Because everybody's got a phone.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Everybody's got a phone.
Exactly.
And I mean, how incredible would that be?
It would be amazing. It would be amazing.
You know, like TED Talks.
Yeah.
How many TED Talks do you listen to?
Sure. A lot.
A lot. Okay,
A lot,
you and me both. And programs on YouTube like Vice.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
Jordan B. Peterson.
Yes.
All the time. Gad Sad.
Yes.
All the time.
Yeah.
With all these guys, all the information's there.
Yeah.
Right? But then there also lies the problem that, okay, I'm going to take that and I'm going to go watch cat videos.
That's the vice of that. Yeah. I mean, I just saw recently Michael Jordan and Patrice Motsepe have launched a new project. I don't know if you've seen. I can't remember the name of it, but essentially, if you're able to buy a new SIM card, and I think it's on a contract. I don't know if it's on prepaid, and you get one gig for $50, and you get for $250 you uncapped data.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So I think that would also be an interesting game changer in our context as well, because immediately if I just need to do my due diligence around that product offering, and if it's real and it's out there, but I mean fake news. So I just need to verify.
Exactly.
I just need to verify is this real or whatever the case may be. But if it is,
so I'm so careful with what I share.
Yeah,
because I judge people who share shit things.
Yeah, yes.
I do, but I'm like, bro, no,
poor
for the
performance,
14th time,
poor play.
Exactly.
Yeah, poor play.
There isn't going to be a blood moon which is going to. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Snopes.com. Use it.
Yes.
Go to Snopes.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But we've almost been given this culture now of just share.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Nobody actually goes out there and finds out.
Yes.
And I mean, that's fucking dangerous. So let's say, for argument's sake, somebody turns around and goes, and obviously this isn't true.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, okay.
But somebody turns around and goes, Ndumiso Hadebe is a rapist. Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Sheesh.
okay. So that goes out into the news.
Yeah.
Bam.
And
Then
it's
what,
out there.
Then what happens is the people do their due diligence.
Yeah.
Okay. You fucking sue the shit out of them.
Yeah.
A retraction gets printed.
Yeah.
30% of the original people who saw that don't see the retraction.
Yeah.
And your name is still painted as a racist. I mean, as a rapist.
Rapist, yeah.
It's dangerous, dude.
It is.
It's dangerous.
It
It's
is.
dangerous
It is.
what
It
we
is.
just do. Oh, just share.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I play in the social media space a lot in terms of my business.
Ah, okay.
And I say a lot to the guys, you know, that I say, be careful what you share.
Sure.
You know? Be careful what you share. I had an incident where somebody shared something on my, and because it's a family member, I don't actually mention what it is because I mean I don't want to put down a family member.
Yeah.
But he shared something on my page, and I looked at this. I was like, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
Cancel, delete, unfriend.
Sure.
No, bud.
Yeah.
I'm just not
poor play.
I'm just exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Come here. Hand slap, right?
Yeah. Yeah. A friend of mine on this very same topic mentioned he's in PR, and he said quite an interesting thing. So he's now an ambassador for different organizations, and I've been asking him, hey, dude. I mean, he's like he gets what you call endorsement deals and all of that. I was him, hey, dude. So what? How? And he says, I've been very careful about the content that I share. I know what kind of
so he's an
brand.
influencer.
He's an influencer.
So
yeah,
he's an influencer?
yeah. What kind of brand I want to build.
That's it.
How I want people to what I want people to think when they think about me.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, I'm very careful about the kind of content that I share and curate and so forth.
Couldn't agree
I found that very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And
So,
very,
I mean, so for my multiple platforms, because I've got Thought Lab, and then I've got Art
Yes.
Suave, and then I've got Hunkley,
Yes.
and then I've got South African Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation, and then
Yes.
there's, so I've got multiple platforms.
Yeah.
And for each platform, I play a very specific game,
Mm-hmm.
right? And look, I don't share something for the sake of sharing it. I have to
Yeah.
believe in it because it still has to be Hunkley.
Yes.
It still has
Yes.
to be authentic.
Authentic, yeah.
Right? But I play different games to different places. You know what I mean? And I put different things up in different spaces.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and you have to play that game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can't just share whatever you want to whenever you want.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
And so let's say, for argument's sake, there is somebody sitting out there listening to this podcast and they hear about Ndumiso and they're like, I'm going to follow this guy.
Yeah.
And then you go and put something out that's false. You've just been the cause of that cancer.
Yeah. Exactly.
So there's that social responsibility as well.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah.
it doesn't just work one way.
Way.
Yeah, it works two ways. I believe it works two ways.
Sure. So it's quite, man. I mean, the space that we're in, whether it be in knowledge sharing or whatever the case may be, but we've shifted to a space where, I mean, now what is a topical theme is this concept of a shared economy, right?
Yes,
so,
it's coming.
Yeah, and I mean we're seeing
the third industrial revolution.
fourth
Industrial revolution.
Fourth industrial revolution,
Yes.
and being trained in economics, that in our textbooks that wasn't a thing.
No.
There's no such concept in traditional textbooks, but it's now a thing, and we're seeing that.
And it was part and parcel of your talk.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's why I loved it so much.
And it's fascinating in that sense, because it then means that in where we're at right now and where we're headed, we have an opportunity to be co-creators, to share in value adding activities or projects or whatever the case may be. And by the way, we don't have to be in the same room to be able to do that.
Yes, exactly.
And I guess then the responsibility then that comes with that, we need to ask ourselves questions around that as well, because we can also be co-creators of not so great things.
Chaos and destruction.
Yeah. And then how do we then think around managing such instances?
Easy. Shared values.
Yeah.
That's it. You got to understand what your values are, and you have to understand what the values are of your partners that you're willing to go into these things with.
Yeah.
Right? And just like I curate, and I say that tentatively, but my podcast guests, if you understand what I mean, we need to do the same thing.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
I'd rather have 20 guys in my club who all believe in what I'm doing and have great belief systems and great attitudes and caring and nurturing and look after everybody than have 50 guys in my club, but 10 of them are assholes. You know?
Yeah.
Then keep your money, bro. I don't want it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But we're in this consumption
Yeah.
society right now. Give me, take. I'll take whatever I can get.
Yes.
You know, one of the most amazing things that a young business owner can realize is that he can say no to a client.
True.
I've done it.
Yeah.
And I will continue to do it. Your values and my values, we're not the same. And I see where this is going.
Yes.
And no thank you.
Yeah.
Keep your business, dude.
Yeah.
You know, because my name means more to me than anything. But begs the question, do we even know what our own values are?
Do we?
I say to people, you know, you've got a mission and a vision statement.
Yeah.
All right. So your mission statement in your business and your vision statement in your business, and your mission speaks to the why, and your vision speaks to the how and the what. And I say to guys, why not write yourself a mission statement for your life? And then when you finish writing your mission statement, because you have to ask yourself some very fucking serious questions, right? In order to do that,
yes.
Right? Then write your vision statement. So how are you going to do that?
Yes.
And isn't that goals?
That's it. That's exactly it.
That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly
so take the
it.
principle of writing a business plan, right, and write a life plan.
Sure.
Well, shouldn't we?
And how many business plans do people write year in, year out?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
I help write many business plans.
Exactly. But people don't write life plans.
Yeah. Yeah, and at the end of the day, what's more important than the business plan is the life plan.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes when I sit with some of my guys, I'll say to them, all right, one of the questions I ask is, are your business and your life values aligned? because that's very important. You can't turn around to me and go, oh, I'm not going to say which ones, but I'm very religious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've got ethical principles, but I'm willing to take bribes.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
And let's say they do that. Well, one of them is a lie. So you're not being true somewhere.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And if you're just a badass motherfucker and you just like your principles are like, I'm bad to you personally and I'm bad to you in business, well then your business values are aligned. And your life values are aligned.
And it
not
is
in the right way, but at least they're fucking aligned.
Yes.
At least I'm not being hypocritical.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. You should say shared values. So there was what was this? A lady called Rita McGrath.
Okay.
She shares a lot of content around company competitiveness, and what makes businesses thrive in volatile times. And she conducted a study of some of, I think, companies that had a market cap of $1 billion above, and tracked their performance from the period of 2000 to 2005. And she got a specific outcome. And she said, well, sure, I mean, 2000 to 2005, it wasn't really...
volatile.
Yeah, it wasn't really volatile.
Bring in 2008.
Yeah, bring it, exactly. So she then extended the time series of her analysis to say, but I wonder if these same companies that were the best performers in 2005 will still be the best performers from 2000 to 2009.
Mm-hmm.
She ran the same analysis, and what she found is that most of those companies were still the top performers. So they generated, I think, even in the period between 05 to 09, year-on-year compound annual revenue growth of 5%, even during that time, 2007, 8, 9.
And why do you think that is?
One of the things that she found in her research was just those companies had a strong sense of shared values, amongst many other things, building in innovation processes, and the concept of agility is not being able to move fast, but choosing when you want to move, and amongst many. But one of the key things, shared values in that organization. I found that to be very powerful.
And you know what the thing is, I mean, people need to realize nowadays we're not building companies, we're building brands.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's talk about a brand. I mean, my favorite brand is Apple.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They shared values across everything.
Yes.
Within the company.
Yes.
Its employees.
Yes.
And even its consumers. Even fucking the
Yes.
schmuck Huntley.
Yes.
Right. Who goes, I want another iPhone.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
Right. They speak to me perfectly. The brand is pitched perfectly.
It can be
brand
priced
exactly.
Whichever
that
price
brand
point,
transcends everything.
Yeah.
Because it speaks to me fundamentally in terms of who I am and the way that I consume my daily digital or media activities.
Yeah.
And it just works for me.
Yes.
Done.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a loyalist. Once I get
you're in.
I don't change. I'm deep in, bro.
Yeah.
You know, I could even be classified in certain instances as an early adopter in certain tech and things like that, because I don't mind trying. But it's this idea that we're building this company. No, we're building a brand. And what is brand? Brand is image, right? And shared values.
Shared values.
Yeah.
That's it. And how people also, I mean, relate and see themselves in it, in that brand or the shared values of the brand that is being built. I found that to be quite powerful, and I think in most instances we tend to take that for granted, in the hustle and bustle of being agile, of what is this concept VUCA, in terms of volatility, uncertainty, ambiguity, and
volatile, uncertainty.
What's the C? Complex
and
ambiguity.
And ambiguity.
Yes. And we tend to forget again, and you mentioned it in the beginning of our conversation, people, and then what drives the success and what drives brands and organizations.
Company's biggest resource?
People.
That's it. I ask this question over and over and over again, and I get wonderful answers.
Yeah.
But if you take everybody away, there's no company.
There is no. And Handley, it becomes interesting when we include this conversation around automation, mechanization, artificial intelligence.
Ooh.
Our jobs are it becomes an interesting conversation then to say the placement of people, where would it be then in organizations? So was it last night? So in our business, we're capital raising, and I came across a sort of software / template that one can use in terms of a sort of like a guideline, top what guideline to capital raising, ensuring that you have everything in order. And that platform essentially is driven by artificial intelligence technology, machine learning, and so on. And so it led me to ask myself an interesting question. In their short tutorial, they mentioned you don't have to get your analyst to do all of this work and so on and so forth. This powerful, robust technology can be able to do that at the push of a button if you need a certain report or whatever the case may be. So it then led me to ask myself people-centered questions to say where will people find themselves in the world of work, and what kind of new skills set do people need to acquire, given that naturally, if one is a business owner, you want to increase efficiency and productivity in your business.
Of course.
Unless you are a business owner and business leader who truly values people and does see space and room for people in that organization, it then leads us to ask interesting questions around that.
What's going to happen?
What is going to happen?
Where's 2030 and 2040 and 2050?
Yes. And then in our kids and all, where does that place them? One of the World Economic Forum reports mentioned that the skills that are going to be key in 2050 are skill sets such as judgment, having a trusting your gut,
Okay.
What are some of the softer interpersonal skill set that machines or robots cannot necessarily do?
Yes.
A sense of what is wrong and right, consciousness and discernment, and so it's quite interesting then in that perspective, in terms of what career paths does that shape, what role do human beings have in their interactions and the interplay between robotics and AI and so on, and shared values in that context as well.
Yeah.
So it's
what values does AI have, and how do you build those values?
Exactly.
I need to tell you that murder's bad. Murder's bad.
Yes.
Intrinsically, I think there are some universal laws.
Yes. Yeah.
Having said that,
Yeah.
our ancestors waged war on one another.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, to build tribes and whatever. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So
one guy actually said no. It's an interesting debate. One guy actually said no, but dude, this is and I fully agree. It's interesting times. And he actually said, so for instance, if you and I, God forbid, we are in a car accident and our car just jumped over a cliff and we're in the ocean, and this either a human being comes through to try and save both of us or one of us, or a robot comes to save both of us or one of us. The human being would most probably go with a gut feeling to say, what do I need to do now, and do that immediately. A robot would work in probability.
Yeah.
Well, Ndumiso has a 90% chance of dying.
Yeah.
He has 20%. So there are those questions as well.
Yeah, of course.
That come about to say, sure, where does that place us? You know what I mean? It's and again, people, leadership, how we choose to run our organizations, how we choose to build the kind of societies that we want to build. How do we integrate this beautiful technology in our spaces, either to enhance human experiences or to
constructively versus destructively.
Exactly. And so these are conversations that I think even on this platform and in other platforms that we need to start thinking about.
Definitely. 100%, without a doubt. I agree.
Yeah.
And it's not the small segments that I'm worried about, it's the big segments. I mean, for argument's sake, if you look at driverless cars.
Yes.
Okay. So let's say they move to driverless trucks.
Yes.
Do you know how many truck drivers there are? I mean, this is not a small segment. This is big worldwide.
Yeah.
That's very
international
serious.
trade runs at the back of that. Yeah.
That's very serious. I mean, that's millions of people losing their jobs as opposed to a very small segment that in something else, you know, very obscure.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's frightening.
It
and
is.
I would be worried.
Yeah. And then, I mean, what then do we do with that word? But I don't know. I guess it's just this is just
indeed
intellectual thoughts
that we play with ourselves.
Yeah.
So I want to jump all the way back.
Yeah.
Right. I'm very, very, very interested in hearing about Khomba.
Yeah.
But I want to hear about how you got involved, because I mean you're involved in some really, 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 really interesting things. Yeah. So for argument's sake, you're a development economist for Gibs South Africa.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You've started up Khomba Africa.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is an online localized business directory. Mm-hmm. And I want to hear your progression into getting into the big bad sort of world. You're also a faculty contributor for One Day Leader.
Yes.
I mean, you're a very interesting cat, man. Let's hear about you.
Sure. So I think it starts at home. So my mother is a teacher,
an educator. Yeah.
And so growing up, I mean, development has been conversations that we have been having growing up, and the importance of education, the importance of personal development and investing in self, and making a contribution in society and in the world that we live in. And so all of those kinds of conversations and way of growing up contributed significantly to my outlook on life and the kind of contribution that I want to make. And so as a result, over the years, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have been I'm quite an introvert, as it were, but as a result of maybe gifting.
You were an introvert.
Well,
slowly going out.
Slowly. Serving in leadership positions in sports. I used to be a sprinter. I think in matric, came third at the nationals in the 100 meters. So in my previous life, I was very active. Did public speaking growing up, nationals, debating, all of that, and all of those experiences shaped my outlook on the contribution that I want to make in the world and what I believe is my purpose. And so as a result, I went through competition called One Day Leader. One Day Leader was similar to The Apprentice, really. So it was over a 13-week period. We're given different tasks to address socio-economic, political challenges in South Africa and different communities across the country. And based on that, we'd get certain points, and on Sunday evenings on SABC One, we'd debate, and the one with the best solutions would sort of win the debate, and over the 13-week period, highest points, and so on and so forth. And that led me to an opportunity where I had my first job. I worked at a company called Shanduka Group.
Oh, Shanduka.
Yes. I worked at Shanduka Group. That was my first job. And so part of the work that I did at Shanduka Group was mainly in research, and I played. I was the first researcher within the group that focused on the SMME sector in South Africa. So there are a lot of questions. I mean, my first job, and I'm given this first stint that no one has ever played before. So I've had to sort of live up to that. Yeah. So that then intrigued me around the entrepreneurial landscape in South Africa, the SMME landscape in South Africa, the contribution that it has to employment, and the different challenges that we face and where the world is at and our competitiveness and so on. And so that was my first way in this world of entrepreneurship. And so as a result, then other opportunities came about. So I had met some really cool people at Gibs, and they thought I have some value to add. And so I share I try to share key insights about my learnings and my experiences in their global executive programs, from guys from China and the rest of the continent and so on and so forth. But classically trained in economics at Northwest University. And so Khomba...
But economics and international trade, though.
And international trade, and international trade. And that my fascination for the study itself is really premised in, and it's quite similar to you. My fascination with people and how we interact with different things around us. Because on the analytics perspective, we see the data of consumption spend and up, down, whatever the case may be, but that's driven by certain human behavioral patterns.
Exactly.
Yes. So for me, that's what interests me, and as a result, then after observing the world that we're in, the country that we're in, where we still need to go, being young, being enthusiastic. Then myself and some peers, we came together, but it started through one of the directors in the business who went to go visit his grandmother in Polokwane. Grandmother had a plumbing problem. I don't know if I shared.
Please share. I have heard it, but please
you
share.
have, yes.
No,
yes.
but please share.
His grandmother had a plumbing problem, and he's 31, and he's a young person. First thing he wanted to do was to search on the internet the nearest plumber that he could find, and the nearest plumber was all the way out in town, 35 minutes away. There's a call out fee and so on and so forth. Lo and behold, several minutes later they found a gentleman called Babu Mthembu who has worked as a plumber for 35 years or so, and he was able to assist Murendeni's grandmother. And so that led us to ask ourselves innovation questions around this, to say, look, there are a lot of people who are entrepreneurs, one-man shows, but in the context of an economy that is increasingly digitizing, modernizing, and is services-based, they are falling behind in the information and technology divide.
Because they don't have a website.
They don't have a website, exactly.
Or exactly. They're not listed on...
a digital platform or
whatever
digital presence, yes. So it led us to ask ourselves that question. Say, look, already we have a jobs challenge in South Africa, poverty and whatever the case may be. Let's ask ourselves an innovation question as opposed to expecting perhaps other innovations from around the world, and perhaps we can be able to add value in that sense. And so we thought, what if Babu Mthembu had an online presence? So that's where the question started, and so we checked on all of the conventional search engines. You wouldn't find entrepreneurs or SMEs that are located in the semi-formal and informal sectors on any digital platform,
even rural,
or even rural. Yeah, exactly. On any digital platform. So we thought, hey man, but this there's potential for growth and for these guys to get more business. But again, in South Africa, the average age of an artisan, plumber, electrician, or whatever is 54 years old.
Is that average? Really?
Average. 54 years old.
Okay. So baby boomer.
Exactly.
Baby boomer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The conversation we're having.
Yeah.
In the context of a population where over 60% of South Africans are under 35. So you're saying, that's an interesting dichotomy, where you have an average age of people who have a skill set that we need. We're a developing economy. We're an emerging market.
Yes.
Yet most young people, don't find those kinds of trades sexy, as it were.
You guys are called the soft
generation.
Yes.
Right? The soft generation. Exactly.
But by your own. Because I had a very interesting discussion. Sorry, I do want to continue, but a very interesting discussion with one of my young students.
Yeah.
And I spoke to him and I said to him, we were talking about things. He goes, no, we refer to as, his name's Nathaniel Komane. I absolutely love him. Such a little demon fighter. But he said, no, we refer to as the soft generation because we don't want to work in the fields. We don't want to work the hard jobs. We want to, and I'm like, damn straight, I want to do that too. So sorry, you were saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you've got this older generation.
Yes.
That have the skills that the younger generation don't want to do, but the older generation don't know how to get themselves out there.
Exactly. So it is part of solving the problem.
Yeah,
we have a budget.
That's a fucking massive problem.
A massive problem. I mean, we look at the 2010 World Cup leading up to it. A lot of the infrastructure that was built, we had to, of course, import and so on and so forth. But you can imagine if we had the requisite skills. It would have done a lot for creating, whether it be short-term or permanent employment.
And that's proper grassroots wealth enhancement.
Exactly. Proper.
The way it fucking should have been.
Exactly. And And a friend of ours, a friend of mine, he was actually on one-day lead as well. He's currently doing his PhD in the UK in higher education management, but he did his master's in small business development.
Okay.
And so part of the case studies, it was I believe, a qualitative case study he did in Ekurhuleni, in a TVET college. There were young people who had graduated in plumbing and electrical engineering and so on. They started after graduating. They formed a cooperative business with the support of the TVET college.
Okay.
And they were able to secure some residential clients and subcontract here and there. And what he found in his studies that the average salaries was higher than that of a dentist.
The average salary of
those guys who started that business. So they're doing so well that when he calculated the average salaries and compared that to a dentist, they on average they earned higher than an average dentist. So that was interesting. You say, I mean, there are massive opportunities that are available
so big
in not so sexy jobs in South Africa, given that we still have to catch up in the pace of development and so on and so forth. And that's real money, and that's real dignity, that's real opportunity, that's real growth, that's real prosperity for people across the board. And so all of those conversations and thinking around that, debating that, having conversations around that led to what we have built called Khomba Africa. Khomba is a Zulu word meaning to point. So whenever you would look for a taxi, you would say, I'm going to Khomba for a taxi. So pointing people in the right direction. Khomba Africa having this sort of emerging market outlook of developing this nascent community or nascent economy into something that has value and that is prosperous for everyone. Yeah.
So Khomba is online, right?
It's online, yeah.
Okay, and what do you tell me how it works, please?
So we have a web-based platform and an app. Currently available on Google Play Store, working on getting it onto iOS and other platforms. We're currently actually redesigning the platform, but essentially it's an online business directory.
Is it on iTunes?
On Apple.
Yes.
No. Google Play Store currently.
Google
Android.
Play Store.
Yeah.
Okay.
Android currently.
Okay.
And that's part of the capital raising efforts, because there are some developments and enhancements that we need to do
in order
to grow the platform and for it to have the kind of impact that we see it having. So it's available on web and on app, Google Play Store specifically, and it's really an online business directory with features of an e-commerce platform. We do have e-commerce capabilities, but because our focus is for SMMEs across the board with a particular interest in semi-formal, informal and rural markets and enterprises, it then makes our approach to this conventional online business directory very different.
Yes.
Hence, then partnerships that we have formed with organizations such as Project Isizwe in Tshwane, because we're providing this technological intervention in communities or geographies where access is a problem.
Yes.
So ensuring that we broaden that kind of access for these people to have
absolutely
access to the platform can be enhanced. So we do a lot of work with them.
Yeah, and I'm sure. I mean, even from a platform point of view, you want that platform lean and mean. So it's not like it's not intensive in terms of its data requirements.
Exactly. So we've built it around that thinking. And then we've done some good work. I mean, even in mining communities, there's free Wi-Fi now, and informal enterprises are listing on the platform. But also in South Africa, of course, we're seeing an increase in internet penetration, smartphone mobile device penetration.
Done, dude.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
Mobile is the way.
Yeah, it's the way.
Mobile is the way.
It's exactly that. So we're saying, look, there's a nascent opportunity here that we can provide. This can play a big role in stimulating local economic development, can play a big role in skills transfer. And Ndumiso is 27 and Babu Mthembu is 54.
There we go.
Babu Mthembu is not he can't climb up a step ladder to fix a light bulb as he could before. Ndumiso is unemployed, can be able to receive apprenticeship through Babu Mthembu. I was on Radio 2000 the other day, and I was speaking about this very same thing, and there was a gentleman from, I think it was in Durban. he sounds, not to be ageist, but he sounds 54.
Okay.
He sounds
ageist. Oh my God, you were just ageist, Ndumiso. You motherfucker.
My bad. He sounded 54, and he said, "Look, I'm an artisan, and I've built my career on that, and I've done very well for myself and for my family, and I'm willing to give an apprenticeship to young people." So literally on radio said, "Look, any young people who wants an apprenticeship, I'm available." That's the need that is there. And you're talking about enterprises or businesses that are investing in the South African economy or in the African economy or whatever the case may be, and government infrastructure projects that they need to roll out. There are budgets there, but if there isn't the skill set to be able to do that work, then it creates a difficult problem for us as people. I mean, we can continue to talk about jobs and unemployment and poverty, but so we thought, we asked ourselves, creative innovation questions around some of the challenges that we face.
Well, I mean, I sat in Like Mind and heard you talk about this, and I just sat there and I was like, that's fucking genius.
Yeah?
Really? Because to me, it hits two things that this country needs the most. I said that earlier.
Yeah.
It needs you as an entrepreneur, because as the business grows, you will hire people.
Yes.
But you are creating such an incredible platform for people out there to showcase their businesses and hopefully to get more business and hire. Because I think that small business is the one thing that can turn this country around.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And one of in doing this, we identified one of the key challenges for even these enterprises, that because they're largely informal, accessing capital is a challenge.
Of course.
Expansion capital. So there's questions around training and having business acumen and all of that. So part of our business model, we address those issues with the partnerships.
Okay, so explain the business model side. So the one side is the directory.
Yes. Okay. So the one side is the directory. Then we have, of course, advertising for targeted audiences of users and 100%. Businesses that be on the platform.
Because you've got data.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hey, you got to make money. I love it.
Exactly.
I love
exactly.
it.
Exactly.
I mean, I assume you're providing these services to these guys for free.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
100%.
Exactly.
I love it. Good business model.
So it's and it's also, I mean, conventional. I mean, that's how some of the biggest platforms were able to build their usership. Facebook, you name them.
Google.
Twitter. Yes, Google. Exactly.
Google.
Exactly. Research and advisory leg as well, because we have a very robust reporting software and tool at the back end.
Wow.
So we're able to see B2B interactions, B2C interactions, the triangular interactions, B2C to B, whatever the case may be.
Wow.
So that provides significant enterprise intelligence in terms of the activities of SMMEs in these markets in South Africa. And because of the e-commerce capability that we also have, that will add further insights in terms of leading to the fourth one, program design and management of entrepreneurship programs and SMME development and so on.
I love that.
So that's the ecosystem. So right now we're building that whole ecosystem because at the end of the day, once we've done all of these things that we've done, the directory, the advertising and marketing, the research and advisory leg, which also the research and advisory leg, then the program design and management also has opportunities for bespoke offerings for different organizations as well. It creates an opportunity to not only design programs for SMMEs and entrepreneurs from a report that we read from the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor or the World Bank, whatever the case may be, but sort of like ongoing robust research tools that give us real-time insights of what's happening in South Africa. A lot of the time in economics, when we receive data from Stats SA, it's lagging. Yes,
and I mean, we know stats is
So this offers that opportunity for us to be able to do that, and then we also see then playing in the informing sort of public policy in that sense as well, and young people as well.
You'll have the data.
Exactly. So that's
Dude,
that's the vision that we have. Yeah,
speechless.
Yeah,
I'm a podcaster.
Really,
I think it's fantastic, man. I really do. And where are you guys on your trajectory right now? So when did it start?
So we started working on this baby in May 2017.
Okay.
May 2017, cracking our ideas, storylining, brainstorming, and then we launched the business during Global Entrepreneurship Week in November 2017. So we've been operating for 6-7 months, give or take.
Okay.
And in that period, we have undertaken really user testing using design thinking methodologies to see whether this thing actually works the way we see it working. Because it's one thing having this great big idea
and nobody accesses it. Got you.
And so one of the insights that we came across was the question of timing. So there's a guy in the US who ran an incubator called Idea Lab. He has been involved in the development of many tech startups through that incubator. Over 245 of those have had IPOs and acquisitions and so on and so forth. Some of them have gone to do very well for themselves.
Wow.
And so what he delivered a TED talk actually. I discovered that through a TED talk. And he said, look, I then did some research to find out what are some of the key factors that led to some of these businesses that did exceptionally well, doing exceptionally well, and some of the ones that did horrible, doing horrible.
Yes.
And number one, or the biggest contributor to the success was timing.
Okay.
Funding was last.
Yes.
The business model was second last. I think the second, So timing was first. Second was the team or the execution of that project. Third was the idea itself. Fourth, business model. Last was funding.
Okay.
And that's what
what do you mean by, so how would you use that information, or how did you use that information for Khomba?
So we looked at our context, specifically given the markets that the specific market that we want to operate in, to say, access is a big contributor to the timing factor, where this is a digital and technological innovation, and by and large in the markets that we're operating in, whilst there's there's a nascent mobile and internet penetration, we needed to really think about that really hard around how that would affect the effectiveness of the platform. And once we did the homework, we found but actually South Africa's internet and mobile penetration is on the rise.
Yes.
But it's unique in terms of geographies as well. So it differs versus a rural area, semi-rural, and an urban area, for example. So that means that we need to deploy different ways of executing it in those regions. So then we have a whole strategy around that. So it's that sort of theoretical framework
I've got you.
led to how we think around the execution, which is factor number 2 of this business model. And then we look at the idea itself, of course, and then other things. But I think the top 3 informed our approach to our route to market strategy for the business.
Got you.
Yeah.
And how's it been so far?
It's been it's been going very well for given the short space of time, but it's also been very difficult, frustrating, and exhausting at the same time.
Welcome to being a business owner. To start a business, they said.
Yeah, they said, you're right.
Who the fuck is they?
You'll have freedom, they said.
You've never worked so hard, have you?
Sure, I've never worked so hard.
Yeah, I get it, dude. I get it.
And we've undertaken some market validation activities. So 2 of our guys went to the States. We entered ourselves into a startup competition in Silicon Valley. We're competing with 24 startups in Silicon Valley. Made it to the top 6, and then came second place in that competition.
Fucking congratulations!
Yeah. So for us, it was like.
And what was the competition called?
It was Zoo Venturist. I believe, Zoo Venturist. That was the name of the competition itself.
Wow.
So it was quite a key market validation for us to say, hey, look, even in developed markets, they have a similar problem.
Yeah.
So people can innovate around this very same problem. One of the judges on the panel, who is an Asian angel investor, said to us, look guys, what you have here is exceptional, and if you develop it and execute it carefully, it has the potential to disrupt the entire continent. because as international investors, we see the continent of Africa as an emerging green shoot that is also very nuanced. Africa differs in different parts of, depending where you are.
Depending where you are.
And then she said, if you execute it diligently, it has a potential to disrupt the whole continent. And so from that experience, we got a bit of seed funding from that, which we invested back into the platform, into the business, to be able to get to where we are right now. Now we are initially we had used up our savings. So disclaimer, I'm very broke right now.
My bad.
I'm broke, brother. I'm broke.
But broke for the best reason.
For the best reason, exactly.
Right? It's not because you broke because of, sluts and alcohol.
Exactly. Yeah, not for that. So that was our first capital injection into the business. Second capital injection was the Silicon Valley stint. And then we're in the third round of capital raising to be able to grow this. And part of that is the verification of these businesses, because there's a question of we have reviews and ratings on the platform.
Okay.
We just don't, because we're dealing with informal markets. We're not just saying just be on the platform.
Yeah.
We're saying yes, we're giving you this opportunity, but you have a responsibility to make sure that you add value to this platform as well. And that you develop and you grow yourself as a business as well. We have channels to be able to provide that support for you. We'll be able to use that.
I'm asking, but I would envisage it to almost be like a rating profile. So the higher you rate, the better.
Exactly.
And so almost like LinkedIn,
Exactly.
Eventually becomes an all-star profile.
Exactly.
What a fucking genius idea.
Even users are able to rate. If I want plumbers in Sandton, Rivonia, and I want the top-rated plumbers, then you can see them in that order as well.
Oh, brilliant.
And so it's part of that. And then there's the financing aspect of these businesses, because they're largely informal. They don't have what you call records of how they run their businesses and so on. So we're thinking around that as well. Credit reporting, dealing with insolvency issues, and their records as well. Really thinking outside of the box to be able to address those needs, so that they can be able to access some kind of financial services, because these businesses are largely underserviced.
I'm with you.
By the financial services sector. So
I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, imagine getting somebody like Sage on as a partner.
Exactly.
Hey,
exactly.
Fuck, it's exactly what I'm thinking now.
Exactly.
That would be perfect.
It would be ideal.
Yeah.
It would be ideal. So, and that's how we think.
Sage, if you're listening, or anybody who knows anybody from Sage,
shout out. So, brother, that's what we're building,
dude. I am in awe of what you guys are trying to do, and I don't say trying to do in any flippant manner, because I say that because I know what you're trying to do, and I know how hard it's going to be. I know that the road that you guys are going to walk, I have no doubt you're going to make it. But I have no doubt that that's going to be trying to get there.
Yes.
It's going to be a trying time, man. Fucking hell.
Yeah, it is. I mean...
and you got a good group with you?
Solid.
Brilliant, man.
Solid. I think what makes Khomba Africa is the team. We have one of our directors... he used to be my youth pastor, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he used to be my youth pastor, Word of Life Baptist in Auckland Park, back in the Vaal. So yeah, his background is in theology. He's completing his MBA this year. He'll be heading to the States to do his doctoral program. We have a guy who's in charge of our IT and operations, management consulting background, one of the top 4. He deals with the platform itself. We have another guy who's trained in what you call judiciary law, LLB, but he runs his own construction company as well on the side. Brilliant guy. He's also brilliant in the sense that he has a good strong legal background, has an understanding of cash and labor intensive and catalytic projects like construction. But he also assists us to understand the political economy aspect of things as well.
I see
So
what you're saying.
he adds a lot of insight.
Yeah, like
in the group.
like the uncle.
Yes, exactly, like the uncle. And then exactly. Then there's me.
Okay.
Bringing my experiences. So we
Brilliant, man.
Yeah.
And you know, not that there's word of advice needed, but
yeah.
more of this,
Uh-huh.
more of podcasting, more of getting your name out.
Yeah.
You're intrinsically linked to that brand now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's these types of platforms.
Yeah.
Your public speaking.
Yes.
It's such a powerful tool. Such a powerful tool, man. Because you've got the business side, but you've also got the higher you rise.
Yes.
In terms of getting out there, the higher in turn your business will rise.
Exactly. And we see that to be complementary.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah.
Because these platforms then provide us an opportunity to have a reach, to connect with our audiences, but also to bring them along on the journey. The same way some of the biggest brands in the world have brought us along on their journey as
Absolutely.
well. And doing some capital raising in the process.
Got you.
Yeah.
We need money, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's what it is.
We do.
Nothing is something until it's something.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's that struggle, man.
Yeah.
It's that absolute struggle.
Yeah. So it's been a fascinating past 7-8 months or so.
And I mean, you guys are still. You say 7-8 months. I mean, you're in your infancy.
Yeah.
Absolute infancy.
Yeah.
You know, 3 years we'll see.
Yeah, 3 years was.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
3
years we'll
yeah.
see.
3 years we'll see.
And then it requires of us to be very diligent and so on. There's some great conversations we're having with key stakeholders. It's just, bedding down certain things, getting the structure of everything going efficiently. There's a robust employment or job creation implication that this will have as well. So it's all about being diligent, and I think Huntley, we've been very. I think we have been diligent, and we have been focused on building a good, solid business on solid ground.
Got you.
You
haven't rushed things.
Yeah. We don't want to rush things, whether it be because of additional financial pressures that we need to inject into the business, or whatever the case may be. But our focus is to say, this is what we're building, but we need to build it on solid ground.
Yeah, build it right, build it the first time.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where we're at, and that's our outlook where the business is concerned.
I've got you.
Yeah,
I think it's absolutely fantastic. And so somebody who wants to go on and use the platform now, can they do so? It's live. It's running.
It's live. It's running.
Brilliant. So I could use it to find services.
Yes.
And I could use it to add my services.
Yes,
okay.
You can. Currently, we are still using design thinking as we're seeing interactions, we editing here and there.
Sure.
We have over 200 businesses currently, 1,900 active users, and over 66,000 page visits.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So we're seeing what's working and what's not working,
of course,
and what needs to be made more efficient, and what needs to be more meaningful in its user experience aspects,
and phase that out correctly. Phase 1, then we'll go to phase 2. No, that's perfect.
Exactly.
That's absolutely perfect.
Exactly.
And it's Khomba spelled Khomba.
Correct.
So where would I find you guys on the internet?
So you'd find us on web.
Yeah. khomba.co.za.
khomba Africa.co.za.
Okay. khomba Africa.
On Google Play Store as well. Khomba Africa. You'll find us there.
So it's Khomba Africa, and I like that because now you've got the whole continent,
exactly.
right? It's not South Africa.
exactly.
100%.
It's our outlook. I mean, it's exciting times for emerging markets. Specifically, if we're talking about global competitiveness, if we look at the continent of Africa, we look at Asia, India. Just, if not over, just about 60% of the world's population are those three parts of the world.
Yeah.
And we, by 2050, forecasted there will be 2.2 billion new middle-class consumers. Half of that will come from the continent. What does that mean for FMCG companies? What does that mean for businesses as a whole, businesses that are disruptors and that will potentially be disrupted, given this new rise of new middle class consumers, people need to buy cars, need to buy more fridges,
and God knows what they're going to be by then, right?
Exactly.
If millennials are millennials.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I've been meaning to ask this question. Nobody's. Is there a new terminology for like post millennials now? Is there?
I have no idea.
No, I have no idea.
Me. I think the millennial definition, does it end in 1995?
Yeah. So what's the next one?
I wonder. I think I've once came across it, but I can't.
You can't remember it.
I can't recall.
All
it's
right.
It's interesting. It's interesting in that sense.
And if guys, Ndumiso, if guys want to get hold of you personally, I know your profile from a booking point of view, because you're also a very accomplished speaker.
Yes.
I mean, your talk at Enlightenment just fucking blew me away.
Thanks, dude.
Your profile's available on gnwoQd.
Yes, my profile is available on gnwoQd. You can get a hold of the team. Jade would be able to facilitate the booking in that regard. Yeah,
absolutely. And then you're all over Facebook, right? So you're on
Facebook,
Ndumiso Hadebe.
Ndumiso Hadebe Facebook, Ndumiso Hadebe Instagram, Ndumiso Hadebe Twitter. Yes,
okay.
That's where people can find me.
Awesome, man.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
So, dude, it's been such a pleasure. You won't believe me, but we are close to 2 hours.
Really?
Promise you, bro.
Shucks, dude. Whoa, okay.
I promise you.
Wow.
You and every other guest said the same thing, right? We're almost close to 2 hours, but it has been such a pleasure to have you on. And I'd like to extend the invitation to say, whenever something new is happening, come on and tell us, bro. Mikasa is Sukasa, right? My platform,
Sukasa.
Yeah, my platform is your platform, bro.
Thank you, brother.
And if you've got anybody else out there who's just as young and dynamic as you are, and you want to showcase them, phone me, bro. Bring them on.
Excellent.
We can have them here. And if you want to do 3, we'll have 3, man.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Shut the couch, get the double in. We'll hit it and we'll have some fun.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Huntley. I've enjoyed being on your platform. I'm inspired by the work that you do, your outlook, your passion for people, for
development. Much appreciated. Kind words.
No, genuine oak, and I truly appreciate you and this opportunity. I don't take it for granted whatsoever, and I look forward to building a good relationship with you, brother.
Thank you, my buddy.
I really do.
All right, dude. And to all the guests, so long and thanks for all the fish. Thank you, Ndumiso.
Thanks, brother.
Ciao.
Cheers.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that podcast as much as I did, and I hope you guys got as much value out of the podcast as I think I did. You know, speaking to Ndumiso, man, it's such a pleasure to see the young South Africans coming up and going out there and not just being entrepreneurs, but I mean, Khomba essentially is a business for entrepreneurs. I mean, what more do you want than that? How incredible is that? As always, this episode of the show is brought to you by Jared Smith. He's my main equipment sponsor and the Thought Lab sound engineer. It was also brought to you by Tellytrack. Thanks to the guys at Tellytrack for offering up the studios for this week's episode of the podcast. If you want to get your bet on, you can go and check them out at www.tellytrack.com. That's TELLYTRACK.com. And also to Act Management, man. It's at one of WACT's sessions called Like-Mind that I met in Ndumiso. And I was completely blown away with him. And I immediately got on the line with the guys from WACT and they set up the podcast. And I mean, it's just such a pleasure doing business with them. So if you want to go check out WACT, you can check them out on whacked.co.za. That's WHACKED.co.za. And if you want to go check out Ndumiso's profile, you can just search for him there and you'll find him amongst a host of incredible speakers and MCs and comedians. All right, guys. Until next week, ciao.